Hi, my name is Guy Lawrence, and thanks for tuning into my podcast today. If you're enjoying these conversations and you want to check out more of this transformational work, be sure to come back to guylawrence.com.au and join me as we go further down the rabbit hole. Enjoy the show. Fabulous. Good to go. How are you feeling? Nice to see you, Petra and Matt. I'm doing all the talking at this moment in time.
You're doing a good job, mate. 58 more minutes to go.
All right. Let's get on with it, right? So first question was from Hannah. And in doing the What Do I Want documents, so in the on-ramp program, guys, in Let It In, I have What Do I Want documents, and it starts to break down and gets the wheels turning about what it is that we want from life and the direction we want to go and what gets in the way, right? And she said it has brought some profoundly emotional stuff from my childhood and my marriage. This shit is hard and uncomfortable. It doesn't even come close to describing it. I had no idea how much anxiety I am creating by ruminating on the future and things I cannot control. Do you have any thoughts or input, Hannah?
Matt, are you gonna answer?
Oh, you're looking at me, are you? Everyone's looking at me. I'm looking at everyone else. Yeah. As you were reading that question, Guy, I was just thinking, fuck, it'd be good if the person was here. But yeah, because then you can dial into where she's actually coming from. So I'm just trying to get a beat on that. It's like, absolutely, it brings shit up, you know, and it's challenging. I can only speak from my experience. It's like, I think you talk about it in your work as well. It's like kind of when you can get to that place of being the observer and start to, you know, remove that enmeshment that we have. Like it's like we're not our emotions, we're not our body, we're not our mind. You know, we're this spirit, this source that is much bigger than that. And when we can, you know, do the work, do the meditations that allow us to go into that place where we actually build that relationship with that soul self or that spirit self or that, you know, expanded self, whatever you want to call it, then you have a place, a footing, a place to stand as you start to allow these things to move. You start to then, you know, look back at like, oh, look at all these experiences that I had and stuff that I've identified with that has brought me to where I am. And then I can like look at it from a larger vantage point, so I'm not so much in the swirling of it, in the whirlwind of it. And then from that space, you can let the emotions move, you can let the thoughts unwind, you can rework how you actually are perceiving things, and I think that's the best way to move forward. It's like realizing that differentiation between these are things that I'm experiencing, what's the saying? It's like we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and when we get really enmeshed in the humanity and the physicality of things, that's when we can get thrown around by that 3D up and down duality. But if we actually embrace that spiritual part of ourselves, which is the larger part of ourselves, then we have an anchor, and that this waves and the ups and downs that can throw you around, but you're just still anchored. So
just to add to that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, Petra, just to add to everything you said without going back, covering everything, that awareness, that metacognition, the things we talk about, like for me to move through stuff and have, you know, because we literally go into a fear-based response because of the way we feel and the way we think, right?
Yeah.
But once I realized I'm not necessarily my thoughts and I'm not necessarily my feelings, just like you said, I was able to really observe them, and instead of actually buying into them, I could detach and go, okay, I'm actually feeling anxious right now, I'm feeling fearful, but instead of shutting down, I'd start to observe how I think and how I feel, and I would breathe into it and relax and start to try and see situations for what they are without the cloudedness of the thoughts and feelings, and realize they're like weather storms that can blow in and blow out, that can come. But if we can remain kind of observant of them and not necessarily get caught up all in them, it can make a huge difference.
Yeah, just in the languaging that you just said, like that's the key. You said, I am feeling anxious instead of I am anxious, or I am thinking instead of I am these thoughts. You know what I mean? So like that little separation in the wording is huge, huge.
Yeah.
What do you think, Petra?
Well, I would just add that although it's really challenging when you become aware of everything that you've been carrying in yourself and that brought you to this moment in your life, actually this is a moment where you're taking your power back, Hannah. So this is a moment that you can actually be aware, okay, this is it. This is what I've been going through my whole life, and this brought me to this moment. And now I have the power to change it. So just switch the way you're looking at a situation, and instead of freaking out because all this is coming up, just be aware that now you're gaining control, and now you can make the changes with Guy's guidance, and Matt and I are here as well, and there are other amazing teachers that can help you. And you just go through the meditation and just deal with one layer after the other. I mean, we are all on the same path, but as more aware we become, the more powerful we become. So yes, it's really freaking, I know, when you really realize, oh my God, it's a mess I'm living in, but now we can start cleaning the mess. So it's good. Actually, you're in a good place right now.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
And I'll add to that, Hannah's coming to our retreat in August, so
amazing, beautiful.
she's in doing the work, and it's just going to unfold further.
Fantastic.
Beautiful, guys. Okay, so this next question is from Wendy. So Wendy was obviously at the last retreat in Jan, and she said, how to really know if it is your heart or your head talking? What to do when you are trying to support someone else through changes and they are taking so long? It keeps pushing you outside your comfort zone and you just want to relax and enjoy life, but the struggle is constantly there.
Okay. Should I start?
Feel free.
Okay. Yeah. So first, there are two questions in this question.
Yeah.
So how to really know if your heart or your head is talking? Well, if you take time to settle down and to go into yourself and be in contact with yourself, your heart, and retreat from the outer world, you will know that your heart is talking to you. So it's really important that we all take time during the day to meditate and retreat from our environment, and then we will really get in touch with our hearts and our souls, and that higher consciousness that is really giving us the right answers. And regarding the second question about other people who we dearly love but are much slower than us, it's well, it's their journey, and all we can do is respect their journey and know that they have their reasons why they're going in this space they're going. And also be aware of what is it triggering in you. So how does that make you feel, and why does that make you feel that way? So that person is in your life for a reason. That person is here to teach you something. So just turn it towards yourself and see, okay, how does that make me feel, and what I want to do with it from now on? It's not about them, it's about us. They have the right to go, and I mean, I'm sure they're doing their best.
Exactly. One of the hardest things I struggled with was having to flip it, you know, because we're constantly, it's like a movie screen that's being projected. And I remember hearing once, it's like running up and trying to tell the actors to stop on the TV, stop, you know, and you just, it's just going up against deaf ears, where you really need to turn that projector around and like, well, how am I actually seeing this situation, and what is it I need to learn? What can I see in them that I can't see in myself? And from that point, I then started to, you know, but without jumping on the blame game either, because then that's easy to become my victim story and say, oh, I always cock up, I always make mistakes, and then I can hold on to that. That can stop me from moving forward too, you know. So I just wanted to add that in. And just to reiterate, the between the heart and the head, we've got to be doing the work daily. Like we've got to be tapping in and getting that quiet time to really tune in, because that's the only way you're going to get familiar with it, you know. Yeah,
for sure. What you're saying about turning that mirror back is critical. Like that's one of my favorite practices. There's in my book. I was just thinking your members should have a copy of that book, the ebook. There's a process called owning your sound lens, because basically we can only look outside of ourselves and see our own perception of reality. We can't see beyond our perception, so we're always looking out through our own lens, and that So it's just everything outside of us is just an echo of what's going on inside of us. So we're layering our story on top of everyone else. So it's when you become empowered is when you're able then to turn that lens back, turn that mirror back on yourself, and start to then see the wisdom of that triggering is setting off in you to embrace in yourself. So it's pretty awesome. Like that's a very powerful thing to do. And then I just want to share one little like head heart hack that will like just, this is what's really helped me like bring it home, is like if it's from your head, it's usually laced with you know, a dualistic or a contractual kind of thing. It like contracts. It's like a fear or insecurity or doubt or limitations, or these types of things are all coming from the head. But if it's an expansive kind of thought or feeling, like joy, bliss, love, you know, something that's more whole, then that's coming from the heart. And then the other component of that is the first thing that hits you is from the heart, and then once you sit with it, it comes from the head. The head hits first, and then, or the heart hits first, then the head. So that's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, love it, love it. I hope, yeah, maybe we can put a link in the forum, mate.
Yeah, if you're up for it, like, just because there's all kinds of practices in there, so if they, I think it might help your members.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Hope that helps, Wendy. So Belinda said, my word for 2019 is surrender. I am discovering this takes many forms. I would be interested in your definitions of surrender because I am finding it means different things to different people.
Okay.
Shall I?
You go for that, big guy.
Look, for me, okay, for me, surrender means I believe there's like a universal laws of life, and there's almost like a universal flow, like a river that we can jump into and allow it to take us, almost tapping into the connection to our higher self or source, however you want to look at it, from doing this work. And there's a congruency between the heart and the mind and what we're doing. And I notice in life that if I get too much in my head, I stray from this flow. And this flow is taking me places, but I stray because then all my beliefs and fears and different things might get in the way. And then it's stopping this flow come through me. But if I'm willing to really sort of work on becoming the conscious observer and not running from the programs of who I think I am, but coming back to my truth, there's an element of flow. And once I realize I'm there, because I believe you need to be able to stress responses to really surrender and lean into what that might be, then I start knowing from the heart that I have actions, or I take actions, and I'm making decisions in line with all this. And then I continue as an expansion of myself moving forward. So that surrender is then a detachment from not necessarily outcome, because all we have is now, and life is happening now. So if I can keep reminding myself this moment right now is where it's at, then flow will come from that, and surrender comes from that, and it all comes back to the moment. Thoughts?
Well, for me, surrender is just trusting life, trusting that that the higher wisdom knows better than I do, and just realigning every day and really letting go of control, and just, as you said, going with the flow too. Yeah, just go and just don't doubt and trust. And whenever some fear arises, just act despite the fear, and just, again, trust life. Just go and trust and surrender and trust. And then life will really starts rewarding that trust, and really starts sending you little and big synchronicities, the serendipities, that you really can get like a confirmation, okay, this is the right way to go. So just continue surrendering and trusting, and then you will really know that you're on the right path. It's a way to, we are all learning to do that, and we all have moments when we fall down, and it's just we have to get up and continue. What do you, Matt, think? What is your feeling about it?
Oh, I just keep thinking of this this story that one of my teachers used to tell me, and he said, if you want to know how much control you have in life, go stand like in the center of an intersection at a stoplight, and then tell the traffic to stop or go. And it's like, that's kind of like the like a metaphor for life, right? It's like, if the stoplight is like creation or life that's, you know, stopping and going and just flowing and just moving where it wants, you know, one time the traffic's going this way, one time it's going this way, one time it's coming right at you, one time it's just going with you. And it's like, you can sit there and say, oh fuck, the traffic's coming right at me, I gotta stop it, stop it, stop. It's not gonna stop till that light changes, right? And so it's like, that to me is surrender. You just got to kind of be there under that light, and here comes the traffic. Oh shit, we're gonna deal with that. And then, oh wait, it's going that way. Cool, it's going that way, going that way. But you're in the flow with it, you know. So I don't know. That's just what kept popping in my head as you guys were talking.
Yeah, and I keep thinking, Matt, about the Q&A we did with Bill Bennett from PGS last Thursday.
Yeah.
And he was saying about making the movie, right? Because he said, look, it's not about me getting lazy and just sitting on the couch. I surrender.
Yeah.
and hoping things will come to magically work out. You know, I think we have to meet everything halfway in our actions and our intent and what we do.
Yeah.
But what was wonderful, what he was saying, every time he hit a roadblock and fear would grip in and that, he said that everything wouldn't work. Like, but the moment he surrendered into it and just trusted and almost just come back to heart, then he said the film actually picked up speed in the way it evolved and turned out even better than he could ever imagine. But it was learning that surrender, detachment, and coming back.
Well, yeah, it was that, and like he also say that those moments were when there was something to be learned, right? Some growth was coming forward. Yeah. So it's like, shit's not working, don't hammer down and push through it. It's like, wait a minute, why is this so hard? What do I need to learn here? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, beautiful.
Cool, man.
All right. Jacinda, my son is 3 and he has a condition called reactive airway syndrome. The doctors say it's a precursor to asthma. I'm wondering how I can help him overcome this. Spiritually speaking, what could cause this? How can I help him heal? Look, I think that's a loaded question in some respects. And that, like, multifaceted, because I keep thinking back down to what Dr. Alberto Villaldo was talking about, hardware and software and things. I think there's a lot of lifestyle factors in there. Jacinda, I have no idea if you've been speaking to an integrative GP as well and looking at other aspects of the 3-year-old that could be causing that. And even chatting to Linda earlier, who's a naturopath, she said the first thing she thought about was to explore as well. She would explore would be what Chinese medicine say about the lungs being around grief and sadness as well embodied. But that's as far as my input would go on that. What about any thoughts to add to that, Petra?
Yeah, sure. Well, as you asked, what could cause this, spiritually speaking? Well, have in mind that your child, I mean, all of us choose our parents before we arrive here. So there's a lesson for you for sure. And I would say, like Guy said, of course, go and seek additional help and support him in this process. But at the same time, make sure that you work on yourself, that you change fear for love. And our children are very connected to our electromagnetic field, especially when they are so small. So see and observe what could have been happening while you were pregnant. Did you carry any sadness, any grief, right? Like Guy said, what was happening in his early development stage when he was already born? So he could pick up something from the environment, but also there is a big learning for him as a soul he is. And again, don't worry about what doctors say in a way that it could cause asthma. Just don't go that way. We working in this field, we have seen many miracles despite what doctors said, and I'm one of them now, because I don't know if some of you maybe know that I broke my leg a few weeks ago or 2 months ago, and doctor said that I won't be able to walk. And I just came from gym now because I go every day, and do my rehab, and I'm walking on my toes. So I had to learn to walk again, and I was working on healing my body with meditations and changing the way I'm looking at the whole thing. And I know the thing that it's really hard not to go that way, what doctors tells you, especially because it's your child. But just have in mind that there are other ways to heal, and just support your child in any way you can, whether seeking help, like Guy said, from an integrative doctor or naturopath, for sure. But also don't invest your fear and your thoughts in, okay, this is going to become an asthma, or he'll have problems his whole life, whatever. He's little and he can really, really grow and become a strong kid with amazing, strong lungs, and you can be an example to him.
Beautiful. We lost your video there, Petra. I think you're back now.
We do. Okay. Am I back?
No.
No? Okay, let's see now. No? Why not?
So you heard the voice through the whole thing, yeah, Guy?
Yeah, I hear the voice.
Yeah,
I hear the voice.
Okay, I'm back.
There you
Am
go.
I?
You're back.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go.
It's just in between worlds.
Exactly.
All right.
I just want to add one thing to that.
Yeah.
This is what we weren't going to do, right? I'll answer the question. Just it's really easy to like, you know, being a parent. I find it's and watching other parents as well. It's such a challenging gig, and that it's easy to put an over responsibility on our shoulders, especially when there's like something that's, you know, out of balance, and just to keep realizing like that idea of, you know, it's like at the essence of what we are, we're whole, we're complete, there's nothing wrong with us. And it's like I always, you know, want to find that space and want to go into that place of letting go of blame, letting go of an over sense of responsibility, and just realize there might be, you know, sometimes the most challenging things are where the greatest wisdom comes from, the greatest growth comes from. And maybe this your child's soul came in to want to learn how to actually breathe the fullness of life, and or something along those lines. And it's like and so this is the journey for that discovery. And there's a million different interpretations of what could be going on, but it's like if you can hold that, and it's so easy as a parent to do as well, is to hold the divinity that you see in that child, even though there might be something that they're really struggling with, and then that helps them to move into that or move past the restrictions or limitations.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I certainly didn't feel qualified having no children myself to speak on that, that's for sure.
Oh, not true.
Getting there.
We've all been children, so you've qualified.
Yeah, true. Not that I can remember my Welsh ways. All right, next question. Alana. When doing the Wim Hof breathing meditation, I sometimes find different energy centers feeling activated. Does the actual practice of doing the Wim Hof method activate and or clear the energy centers? And is it best to just observe, or would mindful intentions at the time be useful for increased effects, healing, opening, releasing, etc.? Well, we could qualify Wim Hof method as just breathing, right? You know, and blanket it. I mean, I'll start, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts too. So from the Wim Hof method, I've put hundreds of hours in of that breath work over the last couple of years, and actually explored. And I've actually explored seeing and holding the breathing and the breath work around the energy centers. Now, what I find is at the end of the day, if we're awareness and we're consciousness, and where we place our consciousness and where we place our awareness, that is the ultimate, for me, the ultimate trigger to shift energy is through that awareness and bringing an intent behind it, which is bringing that force in. And I look at the breath work as if the breath is connected to us spiritually, that's our source and the connection, then but we're also having a physical experience, and we're having chemical responses, and we're stressing the systems within the body at the same time. So there's two dynamics going on But to answer your question, I actually started bringing my awareness to different energy centers. So I wouldn't be surprised if it could be activating it, because you're already working on energy centers. I know, Alana, through the work. But I would then bring my awareness to there. So I'm almost emphasizing the energy centers more, from the breathing, the chemical responses going on, and then holding my awareness and holding my intent there. And I was able to move that energy and opening it up. So to answer the second question around healing, opening, releasing, absolutely. Like, if you can bring your intent and visualization, like we do in the group intentions, to different areas of the body, I find you intuitively start to realize where things are blocked, where things don't feel good. You can connect in, and you can drive the breath and the intent there and hold it and stuff. And when we use the metaphors of visualization or light, like for me, that's just, again, it's just a way of guiding that intention and energy. So we need a visualization to bring our interpretation of what we're actually trying to do from it. That's what I've kind of played around with. I mean, what are your thoughts, guys? Matt?
Oh, come on, energy center, Petra. Petra's the energy center goddess.
Goddess. Well, I would say it goes two ways. So one way is what Guy was telling you about putting the intention, which is really important if we want to enhance healing and support the whole process. And also the other way is to surrender, like Belinda was asking, and let go and trust the process. So I would play with both. Sometimes I would really put intention using symbols or visualization or certain feelings that I want to imprint in certain energy center. But also I would, at some other times, I would play with the energy and surrender and allow the energy that is so much wiser than us to go through my body and do what it needs to do. So I would be playing with both. And that's what I do, actually. Sometimes I really focus on each energy center and explore and observe and play with it. But sometimes, and I really enjoy that other process, is really learn to surrender and let go. And the more I surrender, the more I let go, I have the most amazing mystical experiences. And I wouldn't change that for anything. So play and explore. There is not one way to do this. And Matt, you know, with sound as well. I mean, the same thing happens, right? You can influence each energy center in the right way with the sound as well. And yes, you can support that with intention, but also sometimes we need to let go and trust.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Next question. This one has got no name, but I have experienced an electric feeling after some of the group intentions. And at other times too, that varies in intensity and can last for days. It feels like I'm plugged into a charge, and sometimes I have what feels like a tremor going through my body and especially my legs. I experienced this quite intensely after Matt's sound session, which was awesome. And while it feels amazing, I'm always left trying to work out what I'm feeling. Is it that my field is supercharged? Am I in more sensitive state to feel the field after certain practices? Should I be more mindful of what I do when I feel like the supercharged meditation yoga healing sessions? Or just keep observing and see what happens?
I love these like 4 or 5 word questions, you know? God. I don't know where to go with that one. What do you think?
I think ultimately, at the end of the day, if you were to break the question down, there's definitely an energy charge that can go through the body. We're doing the group intentions, we're doing this work. Yeah. And sometimes, and I even notice it, like the more I've done it, I'll be sitting there watching TV, and the next thing I know, my legs start shaking and my feet start feeling like they're getting sucked into the ground, because this energy is just moving, and it can be disarming.
Yeah.
And my thoughts around working with this and feeling that energy, and the more I've worked with it, especially after the group intentions as well, because it can move stuff. I always think the way I relate to it is that my autonomic nervous system is slowly starting to upgrade, and is starting to learn and be able to transfer energy and frequency more freely through the body. But then we've got, it's almost like, I don't know, I think I heard even you had this analogy, Matt, once, like blowing crud out of a hose pipe and clearing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that energy is finding its way into different block paths and so forth. And we do become more sensitive to it, you know, in this energy. But I always know, since I'm to work with it so many years now, that I feel like there's, my body is actually evolving to cope with higher levels of frequency. What would you say, Petra? I mean, you see this all the time with working for Joe and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I see it all the time. So what I know today is that there are actually two reasons for that to happen. One is what you've been saying, is that the energy is being just downloaded, and our bodies and minds are trying to adjust to that, and the energy just is going through our body and clearing blocks, and also our bodies and minds are trying to integrate this new information that we are receiving. The other thing is that our bodies remember everything that we've been through in our lives, and we store on cellular level, we store information. So any trauma that we could have, whether it's a small or a big trauma, and we didn't deal with it properly at that time, and we left the memory, the emotional charge contracted in our body. And now when we are starting to work with energy, that stored energy just is trying to find its way out. And our bodies are shaking because they are releasing what we are being carrying for years or decades. So it's just a chance to free ourselves. So why does disease develop? Usually it's because we've been carrying so long memories and stuff that we didn't process, sadness, shame, guilt, fear, and it just starts to weaken our physical bodies if we don't deal with it properly, and then the illness develops. So this way, as we allow energy to flow, we allow that stored energy to go out, and we are going back to the balanced and centered state. So I would say those two cases actually happen, and what I've been, I mean, I'm really working with it lately with so many people, and that's it, what I can tell you. It's like hundreds of people.
And interestingly enough, right, guys, the first default mechanism, because it's a new experience, we just put fear to it. But yet it's actually a very liberating, freeing thing to happen. And when that's out of the body, we know, right?
It's a blessing. Just go with the ride. Yes.
It's amazing.
You're healing. And you don't need to understand what is happening. Just trust the process. Again, trust. Your body and the energy knows what to do.
Totally. And you know, just to add to this, when you look, and this is what I remind myself of this work, when you look out there and you see people struggling and coming up against their own selves and running in the program day in, day out, and I think how lucky we are to be able in a position to know this work exists and that it's actually happening, and it's our time to lean in and learn this. Like, it's such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing, you know, and I'm so grateful for that every day. And I think if we can bring that beginner's mind and that exploration, just like a child again, that wants to learn to surf and is happy to ride a couple of waves knowing he's not going to get hurt, you know, and then all of a sudden you get on the thrill of the ride, which is exciting. Cool.
Yeah, and Matt, you did it with your music as well. I mean, we did the sound as well, right? I think we can share a lot as well regarding the vibration and the energy that is moving, right?
It's all there. Yep. All vibration.
I remember I've been all over the place on our retreat when you were doing your sound session, and I had a chance to be just one of the participants, and I could really feel sound going through my body and releasing whatever my body had to release. I'm sure you two remember me arching on the floor, being all over the place. So yeah.
Yeah, what a weirdo.
What you make me do.
The things we do, hey?
Look out.
Alrighty, next question. Shane, what should you do when your kids interrupt your morning meditation halfway through?
Oh, this one.
And can you have an extra 15 minutes sleep after morning meditation?
Of course you
Take an
can.
hour.
That's the best 15 minutes of the day.
That's it. So, like, I like the kids one. Like, I always like when my kids are around and I'm trying to do the meditation, and like I usually go out on the veranda. Like, I get them sorted with food or whatever it is they need. Blackout. There's been a blackout. Whatever they need, and then it's just it's hilarious because as I drop in, like I always do a practice where I tone into the divine, tone into the source, and like as I click in, just as I'm dropping in, like 99% of the time, a child is right there. Daddy, daddy. It's like they just sense it. As soon as you start to like your attention, your awareness, it goes away from them. It's like, and you're into like all of creation or in your meditation, whatever. So when I'm on my game, I usually stay grounded in myself, and I use it as an opportunity to actually really anchor in my practice. And I'll let them like come out, and sometimes they're like, they're 5 and 7, so they're just crazy lunatics. But they'll come and they'll jump on my head, or they'll like start poking me, or like Kaylee likes to open my eyes when I'm and all this kind of stuff. And if I just sit there long enough, eventually they'll drop in, and they'll drop in with me. And it's fascinating. There's been these moments, or like I'm toning, and one of the kids will just come and sit in my lap and just feel the vibrations with me. And it's like it's so fun to just play with that. But I know it's challenging. So yeah, when I like to do it when they're not around, or get up before they wake up and do it that way. But yeah, just play with it, I would say. Kids are playful. Kids are actually more connected to source and where we're wanting to be anyway. So why not utilize that as an opportunity to play and explore our own energy?
Yeah, beautiful. And as for the 15 minutes extra sleep after the meditation, I've had some of the most profound moments when I lay back down after a meditation, because then you slip between delta and theta.
Yeah.
And then whoa, that's when you can induce some great experiences. So I'd definitely play around with it for sure. But do you find, guys, that from your experience, especially when first learning this work, that the body was getting tired all the time from the adjustments?
Yeah, it can go both ways. Either you're super energized and all over the place, or you're like half dead.
Yeah.
That's when you pull in the cold shower, the ice bath, right?
Exactly. But I did find I was sleeping a lot when I started having to make some major life changes, that I realized that I'd embodied a certain way, and I'm going up against my old self. And I was meditating, and I was coming up against those barriers over time, just like Hannah spoke about at the beginning and everything, that I found I was quite drained because my nervous system was starting to change. And of course that operates everything. And I realized how much shit I'd been holding on to.
Yeah.
So, and I gave myself the time. I did slow down, and I was resting when needed for the first time, where I used to just charge through it. And I thought that was really helpful.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing as well now. Whether I'm at Dr. Joe's retreats or my retreats, is I really take time off after those retreats, because we do need time to adjust. And we are not even aware how big shifts we are making and what process we are going through. And it's the more I do it, I'm more aware of the importance of the time we take after the retreat. So also, guys, you could coming to our retreat in August, make sure that you will go probably back to work, but just at least leave time after work to decompress and just digest everything what you've been through.
Totally.
Because the process continues after the retreat.
So next question, and this is from Helena, who came to our last retreat, and I believe is coming again to the new August retreat.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet Helena with violin, Helena.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work that into the sound healings now.
Yes.
We're gonna have just like we'll have to set it in the itinerary. Violin healing right here, boom.
Just to fill everyone in, Helena is a musician. She's a music teacher. She plays the violin. She's phenomenal. And I caught her playing in the octagon by herself in this, I think, the second day of the retreat. And I was like, there's no way you're keeping that to yourself.
That's it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah.
So she played for us on the third day, and it was just a magic moment. So Helen asked, do most people enter a quote-unquote black space in meditation? I would be interested to know if this is a natural step that most people go through in which they lose their sense of self. I think, Petra, do you want to start that one? Because I know Joe was always talking about the black space or however he speaks and stuff.
That's a good imitation.
Well, what I can say, is that my personal aim is to get there, to really lose perception of myself and the environment and time and space, especially because my brain is super active, and it really takes me probably, I'm sure, half an hour to go through all the to-do lists and all things that are just running through my head. I have a zillion of thoughts, and my aim is really to reach that moment in meditation when I'm not dealing with my thoughts anymore, and I really am unaware of myself as a human being, and just keep on surrendering to that black space that we call it, because for me the magic starts there. And that is the place again, which is not place, but there's space where we actually create, and where we can really engage with a higher source and explore so many amazing things from, I won't go too deep into it, but from different dimensions, and downloading information and creating whatever we want to create. So I would aim to go there. That is what I do.
And it's phenomenal, right? But it's new terrain when you haven't been there before. But when I don't know what it's like for you guys, but I know it's like there's this moment, and then all of a sudden it's just boom, it's like I finally drop in, and then I'm like, there's this huge awareness. But normally for me, there's a rush of energy that moves with it now when I'm there, and I actually get excited because I play with myself. But the moment I think too much, I'm out of it. And you can feel shit
again.
So my challenge has been over the last probably 18 months is being able to extend that time and hold it, and then hold it indefinite. And then that's when you lose track of time, and you can, like you said, you can actually start exploring, visualizing, and tapping into different energy frequencies.
Yeah, well, you're that's the moment that you're deactivating your prefrontal cortex, because that's the part of your brain that allows you to perceive time, and it's the part that allows you to have body awareness. And that happens all the time in the breath sound sessions, is people lose that, and it's like you just go into that space. So it's a place to be where you're realizing that's what's happening in your physiology. You've just learned to deactivate that prefrontal cortex and allow for that then expansion into a hyper conscious state. So powerful place to be, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. And again,
but it's a process, Helena, so don't be discouraged, because it really takes time and practice to get there, and we are all learning together. I mean, every day is a chance to move a little bit deeper, so you're on the right path. Don't be discouraged if you're not experiencing the black space or whatever. There is no such thing as a bad meditation. So every time that you sit in your meditation, you did a huge thing for yourself. Cool. Okay.
Next question, Alia. Doing this work, I at times get caught in between two worlds. I'm not my old self. I'm not quite there yet to where my journey is leading me. Usually when life gets busy, work demands. I continue to meditate daily, educate myself further in this field in order to overcome it and step into future potentials. Any tips on where these resistances is usually stored in our bodies as energy blocks, the best ways to overcome it? A broad question, hope it makes sense. Many thanks.
Is that 2 questions then, you reckon?
Or more.
Well, I mean, like this in-between world thing, right? That sounded like a whole different topic than the last bit of that, the resistant part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is it the between two worlds would be like the old self and the new self, all 3D and 5D?
Yeah, so you're not the way I'm interpreting is that you know, I call it the North Star, right? You have your future vision of yourself and where you want to go and what you want to do, and you start learning to connect to the field, and that's where creation's coming from, and you're being pulled by your dreams more than being pushed by your problems through life, right? But then we still get caught into our old self. We're trying to catch into the two, and we're in both worlds, and it's usually but I then work at demands. I could meditate and I keep educating yourself into future potentials. But then there's resistance is usually stored in the bodies.
Of course it is. I mean,
What are the best ways to overcome it?
yeah.
But that's where you want to be. Like that's where we're always going to be. Is in between. It's like that's what this journey is about. Is like being able to maintain that in between space, because you're always striving for something more, and you're always going to be pulled back to where you are. It's like you're tethered between those two worlds always. So it's like that's like the hot spot is in between, because then you know that you're moving, right?
Yeah, and the way I see that, Matt, is right. So then we're slowly trying to expand. There's an expansion of ourselves. There's growth. We're raising our consciousness, right?
Right.
Ultimately, and raising our awareness, and that's the human evolution. I see it as.
Yeah.
But when I'm driven by a future vision of myself that I think, wow, I want to lean into that, I want to go with that, and but as that expansion continues to happen, I come against roadblocks that are my belief systems that then get in the way. But it manifests in a way because my body is giving me signals. Like, for instance, we might make a decision. I made the decision to do the PGS 3 months ago, right? And then I could feel old traits and habits kicking in that reside in. So I had to come back to becoming the awareness to observe what my body was going on and making me feel, because there were still old belief systems saying, oh, this could fail. Is this going to work? But then it was coming out emotionally in the body. So I would meditate and breathe and just really learn to tap into that until it would expand and move through that. I almost felt like it was like me rinsing a sponge of still the shit that's not in me, if that, that's still there. And I just keep doing that. But then what happens, and where I think most people fall down, is that we buy into that so much, we retreat and we don't allow ourselves to continue in that expansion and flow that we spoke about at the beginning, as taking us towards our congruency of our heart and head of where we want to live. So to kind of, I think I'm hoping I'm answering that, is then I just go back to go, what am I observing right now? Because now is all there is, this moment and every moment, and that hasn't happened yet, and I can still improve the probabilities of these things coming in. And if I don't get in the way too much, it's going to work out even better than I could imagine, which is exactly what happened with the PGS the other week.
It's an everyday process. It's just being aware of what is coming up from the old emotions, like fear that you mentioned, or doubt, and just switching and raising your energy every day, just working in meditations and being aware during the day, and switch. And with time, one day you'll realize, okay, I switched it. It's not here anymore. But it takes effort, and it takes really, we need to invest energy and will into that.
Totally.
Because we've been carrying for years, for decades, the fear and the doubt, and we are programmed the old way. So we are changing the programs, and we need to change the neurostructure in our brains, then we need to clear the body from the old chemicals, which are emotions, the old emotions that are going through our body. So it takes effort to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. How are we doing for time? 10 minutes?
Yeah,
we're doing great, guys.
Yay.
Okay. Kuan asks, after my meditations, sometimes I feel lightheaded or light-bodied. Not in a bad way, just wondering if you knew what this could mean.
Feeling lightheaded after meditation?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, I've even passed out from experimenting with things. But I think to pull it back, I just think it's the body adjusting. That's all I can put it down to, and you'll get different phenomena starting to happen. Because again, if you think about the autonomic nervous system, that's connected to every single system in the body. That's sending every single signal around part of the subconscious. And as those adjustments come, we can start to, there's a recalibration going on. That's how I perceive it as at the end of the day. And I just kind of observe it and, trust the way I feel, to be honest with you. What about you guys? Petra, you agree with that?
Yeah, well, I can share what I experienced with my clients after every session is that I need to ground them, and that's very important that we ground before they go out of my studio, or if I work online, before we finish a session, because when we work with subconscious mind, whether it's in meditation or in therapy, and we expand our consciousness so much, that part of us is outside of our body, right? So we need to, because we are getting information without our conscious mind. And then we need to ground that energy back. So when we are feeling lightheaded, we are still out of our body, or just like part of our energy field is still out. So we need to ground back. What I would recommend is just taking a few minutes, really feeling your body, feeling the ground beneath you, taking some water, drinking some water, getting some food, walking barefoot on the grass, imagining you have roots, and just letting them go through your feet down to the ground. It's important to ground so we don't go out and have an accident or something because we are not present in this moment. So yeah, it's a way of learning how to be connected but also present in this reality.
Damn, lay it down, Petra.
Yay.
That's it.
Take a cold shower.
Yeah,
or take a cold shower. Yeah, just engage your senses in any way you can.
Yeah, totally. Couple more questions here. So this one's from Megan. Where do you get your background music for the meditations, please? I'm finding I'm walking around with Petra's Energy Center and Guy's Meditations music playing in my head outside of the meditations, and the music is so awesome and moving. Thanks in advance, Migs. Oh, there'd be quite a few artists there, wouldn't there? I know Scott Buckley is one.
Scott Buckley is one. Yeah, Barry Goldstein. How do we pronounce his last name?
Goldstein. Barry Goldstein.
I like how you say it. Goldstein.
Goldstein.
And I'm trying to. I forget the other name. We should actually create a link in the forum actually of different music we like to meditate to. That'd be a good idea. But Scott Buckley definitely on your Energy Center ones for sure.
Yes.
And we got Brent asks, should my journaling still be a daily task? I think you're nodding your head there, Petra?
I am nodding my head. Yes, it's an amazing tool to be self-aware and to get in touch with yourself, your feelings, your thoughts, and everything. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a tool, and if it resonates, then 100% do it. To start observing the subconscious and self, and even if you can freehand write without thinking too much and see what comes out, is a good process as well. I tend to handwrite everything, to be honest with you. whether I'm journaling or making notes or setting goals or intentions, I tend to handwrite it all for me. But I journal for a while. I don't personally journal every day now, but that's not to say I wouldn't recommend it 100%. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Chris K, I just want to say hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi, Chris.
Pierre, I'm still vibing from Sunday. Need to learn to play the drum, Matt.
Oh, boy. Pierre was 20 questions on Sunday. He kept me on my toes, man. Ask the deep ones.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. And Paul said, Petra, how are you going with healing your leg?
I'm amazing, Paul. Thank you. Really, I'll be wearing high heels in a few weeks. Just wait and watch.
How many weeks has it been, Petra?
It's been exactly 8 weeks now.
8 weeks. Wow,
8
beautiful.
weeks.
And how many have you had many intentions on it as well?
Well, I had one in Bonn when the other team leaders were doing the intention. I had one with or two with you guys, and another 2. So like 5 of them, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at all this intention you're getting.
Yeah. I'm learning to receive, Matt, finally.
Yeah, good one. Take it all.
I am. So thank you, Paul, for asking. It's an amazing journey. I'm more than grateful that it happened. And I'm learning so much, and I will write about it. So yeah, it's been an amazing teacher, amazing lesson.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Well, there you go, guys. We've covered all the questions, and bang on the 1 hour. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this later on and you want to got any more questions or pick up a conversation, just put them in the forum, because other people learn from the conversations too, and be sure to engage as well. Don't just passively read and sit in the sidelines, because you'll be amazed what can happen by contributing as well. So Petra, Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And guys. Thank you, Guy and guys.
Yeah. And we will be hopefully we'll have dates for next month coming up as well. And of course we've got the retreat coming up in August, where there's about, I think, recording of this 10 spots taken, so there'll be about 20 left. So if you want to join us and go deeper down, be sure to hit me up, ask me questions or whatever. This stuff is awesome. Beautiful, guys. Much love to you all, and thank you for those that watched tonight. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you all very soon.
Yes.